Hey folks, it's Lunch with Mel. And I didn't bother doing the countdown video because I was using that for when I would stream to the Facebook group, but that's just not working anymore. I do have a plan for next time to see if I can get back into streaming to the Facebook group by sort of fooling Facebook as to what I'm doing. Um, yeah, it is bizarre. I wonder, can I wait? I might actually be able to cheat. Will it let me do two places at once? Oh, oh my God. It's actually letting me use my video, my camera in two places at once. Look at that. Going live in both. If it works, it says live video starting on the Facebook group. What magic are we going to get here? Unable to start live video. Never mind. All right. I'm going to ask Jill to do a post in the group so folks can find us. I guess Facebook is just like not interested. Oh, there you are. Yeah, it showed me on the screen like I chose to use webcam instead of streaming software, and everything looked good. And I hit go live, and it was just like nah, and just ended the stream. I think Facebook is just like doesn't want live video in groups anymore or something. It's bizarro world. Anyway, um, how's everyone doing? Check in. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. Um, I, of course, am tuning in from Danvers, Massachusetts, which is right near Salem, Massachusetts, if anyone's curious, and is actually the real Salem. Well, not the real Salem, but it used to be called Old Salem Village, and it's where the witches from the Salem witch trials were from. And Salem, Massachusetts is all like witch history and commercialism, and Danvers, Massachusetts is all, we're really sorry we killed all those people. Thank you, Megan. I like white and silver a lot too. It's a fun color. I would get compliments too on this. Yesterday, Jill and I were at the gym, and this one lady was like commenting on it and like how much she liked it. And this other lady was like, I wanted to as well, but I felt like maybe it'd be inappropriate. I felt like I was staring, but I love it so much. So yeah, white hair is fun. And then just between all of us here, this is a wig, and it's like $45 on Amazon. I don't know why I just put these claws on my fingers. I just did. I like fiddling with them. Snow-covered Missouri, is that unusual, Stan, for you guys to have a lot of snow there? We currently have slush falling from the sky. It's like just above freezing and half raining, half snowing, and it's disgusting outside. I had to shovel slush off the driveway today, and I'm doing the end of the driveway, and there's massive puddles in the road, and people are just driving by at full speed, like splashing me. And like eventually, I actually hucked snow at one of the cars off my shovel. It missed them, but everybody else following them slowed down and moved over a bit. I just deleted the Facebook app, and I panicked and got you here. Well, I'm glad you found us, Laura. Why did you delete the Facebook app? Just because of it's a time suck? Or are you making a statement against Meta? Yeah, we're having like a normal amount of snow for what Massachusetts used to get, but in the last decade we've never had this much snow. Need to detox, solid plan. I think that's a really important thing, especially like as creatives. Um, writing involves a lot of times being in the right headspace, and if you're letting your headspace get filled with things that are damaging your state of mind, it's going to be harder to write. So it does make sense to, protect your headspace, manage your time, restrict how much access you have to certain things. Like doesn't mean you have to stick your head in the sand, but it does mean that you might need to make some adjustments. I'm pretty careful about that. During the day, I don't read news at all. It's only like an early in the morning thing, and I try to really vary who I follow so I get non-political stuff as well. Mm, that'll do it, Laura. Yeah, yeah. Shoveling slush is the worst because it just like flows out as well, so it doesn't like stay in front of the shovel like proper snow does. All right. So I've been seeing, by the way, really good results for people with Facebook ads this February. I would say this is one of the best Februaries that I can remember for Facebook ads. I remember a lot of Februarys are kind of bleak, but this one's actually looking pretty good. I feel like it's just because like everybody needs maximum escapism right now or something. But you know, for those of you who are thinking about firing up ads or doing releases or whatnot, it seems like a pretty good month. I mean, normally I do always caution people to remember, you know, December is a 31-day month, January is a 31-day month, and then February is 28 days. So, you know, let's say you're making $50 a day, that's $150 less right away. And then it's also usually a slower month than January. But so far, it feels like February is actually being a better month than January for most people. Not everybody. I mean, there's all sorts of individual conditions that apply, but I'm finding myself really happy with what I'm seeing for people in February. So nice on that. Does anyone have any thoughts on their Facebook ads or AMS ads for that matter, and how they're working this February? I'd be curious on seeing some more data from some more people than what I've been looking at, which is probably only a couple dozen accounts. But yeah, it's been quite good. And a lot of people saw another interesting thing that happened. Just if you're looking for any data for some stuff you might have seen in your account, a lot of people had a really down Friday and Saturday last week, and a huge spike on Sunday. And I'm not entirely sure if that's just if it's a reporting issue, if a lot of people were really bored on Super Bowl Sunday and read books or whatnot. But if you did see that, that's something that a lot of people are seeing. I think it's probably a little bit of a combo, maybe a little bit of a reporting issue on Amazon side, and maybe depending on your genre, certain people that are just like, we're really bored. We had like our best day in 2 months on Super Bowl Sunday. So it was, for us personally, Jill and I, we saw that as well. A huge spike that day. In other news, we are doing our beginner Facebook ads class again. A bunch of you that are hanging out here, you guys are in our in school, storytellerlab.net, and so you already all are going to get access to this. It's going to be basically me live going through the beginner Facebook ad training, which is about a 6 or 7 session training that I do, just sort of really walking through all the nuts and bolts of making Facebook ads. And that's going to start on the 24th, February 24th. It will start at, I think we'll probably do the first class either 10 or 11 a.m., probably 11 a.m. Eastern. So it's not too early for folks out west, and will still be a good time for everybody in the UK and Europe. And we're going to do stuff like, you know, making ads. I'll kind of talk through some of the logic and the rationale behind why Facebook does certain things a certain way. And we'll talk a lot about creative as well. And then there'll be a bit of a break, and then we'll go into the advanced Facebook session. And there's going to be a whole bunch of our most popular courses that we teach. We're just going to be doing them live this year. And so to get in on that, you just have to join school for even as low as $37 a month, and you can come to those trainings. Workshop, yes, not class, workshop. Many sessions, and there'll be 2 instructional sessions a week and then 1 Q&A each week. My US ads are meh, but my UK ads are great. That's interesting. I forget, Kate, can you remind me what genre you write in? I'm thinking we could do 11. I think 11 will be fine, honey. And we could actually do that first week. We could do the 24th and the 25th. So Monday, Wednesday at 11 a.m. for the first 2 classes, and then Friday at 11 a.m. for the Q&A. And kind of like space everything out, give people a bit of time to make some ads. I have to fire up a whole new swath of ads because over the holidays, I was so fixated and focused on the ads I was doing for clients, I just turned mine off because I didn't have the bandwidth to also be working on my ads. So I just killed mine off, which is sort of an advantage when you have as many books as I have. You can sort of like, you can run on the read through for quite a while. But I'm starting to feel it. I'm like, got to get these things going again. So it's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna have a bunch of ads fired up for the class. Some in advance of the class, and I'll make some during the class, and then we can kind of see how they work and what's going on with those. Mafia and MC Romance are running as the first book in both series. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of stuff with MC lately. Motorcycle Club, for those of you who aren't up on the romance terms. I think that MC would do well because it's kind of like anti-hero, damn the man, and same thing with Mafia. I wonder if maybe it's just like you need some new creative. Maybe your creative's a little bit tired in the US or something like that. Or you might, one thing that does happen is that if you're running a bunch of these ads in the same campaign, eventually the Facebook behind the scenes kind of seems to blur the audiences inside the campaign. That's sort of like an observation that a lot of people in the ad space are making. And you might just need to fire up a whole new campaign, just new campaign, maybe some new creative, try it for one of the series and see if you can get like a fresh uptick. Could work for you. What time? Oh, Jill I already answered that question from Jill. Ta-da. So for those of you that join our sprints that we do, our writing sprints, what that'll probably mean is I'll probably move the Monday ones. The Monday one might actually start taking place a little bit later in the day while we're doing these classes. How long have you been running this existing creative for, Kate? Another thing you might want to try doing too is like doing a limited run in the UK or Australia. That could work. And I don't know, I've never tested. Some genres do well in German or in Germany in English. So English books advertising in German, like urban fantasy with male protagonists, does fabulous in Germany, even if the book is untranslated. So there might be some other markets you could play with too, if you're worried that you need a maybe you've been hitting the U.S. market for so long, you're like maybe these people are saturated, you want to try something new. But do keep in mind that Australia and Canada do not have massive populations, so you can't run for too long there, or high spend. But it might be something to play around with to diversify a bit. Just some random thoughts. I have been having some pretty good luck lately with AMS ads with people, mostly automatic ads, but some category ads. And one of the things that is a little bit different this time around, I'm not seeing it universally, but it might be something worth thinking about, is I'm seeing really good results in advertising print books with AMS ads, which did not used to be the case. But that's something I think we've been seeing across the industry lately, is that print is picking up. So that might be something to think about, folks. If you've been running AMS ads and you want to see if you can get some more juice out of them, you can maybe try adding in your print books. I also have a slightly different way that I run AMS ads. I don't do dynamic bids up or down. I do fixed bids, and I generally bid between 30 and 40 cents a click, and no higher than that. And that's a way that you can actually kind of force fake Amazon to show your ad. Because with dynamic bids, if it doesn't think you're going to sell, it bids you down and just never gives you impressions. So if you're running ads, you're like, I can never get Amazon to give me impressions, try switching to fixed bids and see what you can get from that. Empty for almost a year, give or take a couple months, slightly changing my still images. Mafia since September. Sorry, I'm quietly reading what Kate wrote. And something you're on YouTube, so you actually can't see this, so I'll just show it. Yeah, it might. What I actually might do then is sometimes when you if you find that an ad is diminishing in effectiveness, you can try changing your images, but what won't happen is the audience won't change. So it's still the same people, and Facebook may have built like this smaller audience and then maybe tuned it a bit over time and whatnot, and maybe that audience just is the wrong audience. So making a whole new campaign, even if you pick the same interests, might give you, and usually will give you, different people that the ad's actually showing to, and that might be what you need. If you've been changing images and nothing's really picking up, then that's always a good sign that either A, you need to go and change the audience a bit, or B, just make a whole new campaign, and that will also change the audience for you. So that could give you a pick me up. Anyone have any questions? I'm always here just to do random Q&A as well on Thursdays. Happy to give my thoughts on anything people have going on. And Jill put a link here, storytellerlab.net, and that will get you into school, which is where we do everything. And it's only $37 a month if you don't want to have the weekly live calls, what we call our roundtables. But that $37 a month will get you into the live classes that we're doing. So you'll have that. And we also do the sprints, the writing sprints, which I'm loving. There's actually some this afternoon starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we actually all write together, a bunch of us. And sometimes we have as many as I think the most we've had is maybe 10 people in, all writing together. We write for 20 minutes, and then I gap for 5 minutes, and then we write for 20 minutes, and I gap for 5 minutes. And most time in like 2 hours, pretty much everybody's getting 2,000 words, and it's a great sort of way to kind of get yourself going. That works out pretty nicely. James says, how many series do you advertise at one time? As many as will sell. I think as you start to write more and more series, and by you, I don't mean just James, like the general you, you'll find that some series are easier to market than others, and they convert better than others. So I've got 23 series, and I found that about 7 of my series do better than the rest as far as like good starting points to bring people into my universe. So I generally I'll market all 7 of those, and I will periodically experiment with marketing other ones too. Like I have one called the Warlord series, and that one is generally, it kind of sits in the middle of a bunch of other things I've written, but even it can be profitable from time to time. So I periodically will even run ads for it, um, and it's actually one of my fun experimenting ones because it sort of like sits separate from a lot of my other books, so things don't really drive to it. So I can it can be like a fun experimenting one because that series oftentimes has almost no sales, and then I can test things with ads and sort of assume that all the sales I get from it are coming from ads. Um, but yeah, as many as you can get good conversions on, and if that ends up being all of your series that you can get conversions, then run all your series. But most of us, I find that every one of us as authors, we've got a couple of duds in there. They're they're good series to have in your backlist. People, your hardcore readers will find them, and they'll be profitable that way. But if you try to run ads for them, you actually that ad spend eats your profit for that series. So do your best to identify what those series are. Don't run ads to them. Maybe run periodic sales or something, newsletter blasts, but sort of let them more organically hang out there and make money. Running an ad to a free book promo, it looks like it'll be in learning phase for the whole promo. That's entirely possible. Yeah. I'm not actually keen on running paid ads for free books, because read through on free books generally is not good enough to pay for paid ads. And ads take 3 to 5 days to go through learning phase. So in a lot of cases, you actually can't get the ad on learning phase. So like one of the things you can do is if you have a good ad that's running for a given series, you maybe just ramp up spend a bit during the free promo if you really just want to get volume. But making a brand new ad that pimps the sale oftentimes doesn't really work that well, unfortunately. Um, oh my goodness, yeah, that's going to be that'll be. Does the ad mention the promo price? Because if it doesn't, then you can start it early and get the learning phase done. But if it does mention the promo price, then yeah, then you're kind of screwed on that front. Oh, 5-day promo, you might get a learning. You might be good enough. But it's tricky starting an ad on a Friday. They oftentimes don't perform as well too. So that's rough. If you have time, could you explain the next level after the $37 one? Sure. So we have. I think Jill's was thinking about doing just one level, but I don't know if that's in effect now. But we did have 2 levels before, where what you get in addition to everything else in Storyteller Lab is you get at the first level, which I think was short, just a little bit over $200 a month. You would get a kickoff call with us where we kind of look you all your stuff over and give you some thoughts, and then you would get access to one of our mastermind calls each month, and then or sorry, roundtable calls. We're calling them roundtable now because I never really like mastermind, just the term. Um, and then at the higher level, which is just a little bit over $400 a month, I think you get access to 4, so basically every week a call. But we're combining. I think Jill's putting together a plan somewhere in the $300 range, that gives you something in the middle. There we go. She has the answer right here. I should know this. So this one gets you two of the roundtables a month, and you can watch the recordings of all of them, which works out for most people because not everybody can make a call every week. So that totally makes sense. So there you go. All right. If I have 3 campaigns, should be 3 different interest sets, or will Facebook pick different audience for each campaign? If they were 3 campaigns for the same series with the exact same audience, that would be weird, and you might get some overlap. Because some, like to a certain extent, like who's likely to click on the images when it goes through the learning phase, like user behavior affects the audience you actually get. If they're different series, then I wouldn't worry about it, because even if you have the different series advertising to the exact same people, that's okay, because it's building your brand, it's building your brand awareness, and it's getting them reading more of your things. Ideally, so the way I structure ads myself is every series gets a campaign, and periodically I'll retire old campaigns and make new ones as time goes on. But within every campaign, I have between 3 and 5 ad sets for a given series. I'll target by genre, I'll target by TV and movies, and I'll target by authors, and I might also do things like target by video game or general interests, or maybe different genre interests or different sets of authors or something like that. Is how I differentiate them all. So generally, I'm trying to run 2 to 3 minimum ad sets for each series that are targeting different authors, different interests. And that's how I kind of keep overlap. But I might be running ads for 7 series, and all of my series are in the same genre. So across every series, yeah, I've duplicated who I'm advertising to. So someone might see ads for all 7 of my series, and I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue with that. James says, what about a 99-cent series starter? Yeah, that can work. Because I think the big difference between 99 cents and free is just that people, like I've talked before, people have different TBRs. They've got their free book TBR, to be read pile, and they've got their paid book TBR pile. And free stuff just doesn't get read as much. So when people pay for stuff, they're more likely to read it. Also, KU people will oftentimes, even if the book's 99 cents, still just borrow it in KU. And then whenever they're going to borrow a new book and they have to return something, they're seeing your cover, and it's reminding them that it was something they selected to read. Whereas if they get the book for free, they might never see that cover again. It's just gone. So I'm a big fan of doing a 99-cent sale. And you can do that sometimes. You can sometimes leave books at 99 cents for quite a while, especially if you have longer series. If you have a 15-book series, you could leave your book one at 99 cents forever, and that might actually work out well. There's ways of evaluating the numbers and seeing which is better though. Like, would you make more money if the book was at full price or at 99 cents? These days, it tends to warrant full price making you more money, 95% of the time. But certainly for short bursts, I think 99 cents is great. How fast you read through on a free giveaway? It's slow. It's really slow. And the read through is generally around 2% these days. It used to be as much as 6%, but now it's around 2%. And it can take months to really see your full read through come from a full free giveaway. So again, the longer the series you have, the more you can get away with that sort of thing, because you'll make it up on that longer read through. But I think that a free giveaway should be more thought of as a brand awareness building thing than something that's going to be directly profitable these days. All right. Hey, Miss Ocampo, how are you? So yeah, and I guess the way to think about it too is if you're thinking about free versus paid, or 99 cents versus paid. Let's say your book one is 99 cents and you get 30% read through to book two, and then just to make our math really easy, you'll get 100% read through from 2 to 3. So you make 35 cents on book one, and then if book 2 and 3 are both $4.99, then you're going to make 1/3 of that, because we're doing a 30% read through from book 1 to book 2. You make 1/3 of that on book 2 and 3. So 1/3 of 350 is like what, about 110, 120. So like at most you're going to make $2.65 with 30% read through, and then 100% read through. So 30% book 1 to 2, 100% book 2 to 3, which is also pie in the sky. You won't ever get that. Which works out to about $2.65 for that 99-cent book one. Whereas if book one is $3.99, you make $2.70 every time you sell book one. So you don't even need read through to make more money than you would make when book one's at 99 cents. And then if you get, say your read through is 20%, then actually, generally speaking, your read through is more when your book one price is higher. So let's say you make the same thing. Let's say the read through is the same. It won't be. You get better read through when people pay more money for book one, because you get fewer people who are buying on a lark. So book one sells for $3.99. and then book 2 and 3 are $4.99, and you still only get 30% read through, just to rule that out. So $2.70 for book 1, and then you're going to get about $2.30, $2.40 off of read through, which puts you now at $5 versus like $2.50, $2.60. So that, so as long as your conversion isn't twice as good or more at 99 cents, then you'll actually be making more money by having a full price book 1. Hopefully that, like, I should really make a chart or something like that has that, because I think that might be kind of hard for people to visualize in their minds. But I guess I go through that example just to sort of say, like, there is a way of actually calculating which one you're going to make more money on, a 99 cent or a full price book 1. But sales are different. Short-term sales, your goal is not necessarily just making money. It's brand awareness, it's increasing readership, it's building more people working through your backlist. There's a lot of other payoffs that you get from that, and there's just like a reason to do swaps with other authors, right? Because it's a sale. A lot of authors will do swaps more readily if it's a sale. Rosa says, if you had multiple series in the same genre, would it ever make sense? I'm gonna put this up on the screen. If you had multiple series in the same genre, would it ever make sense to run the ad to your Amazon author page on Amazon instead of the first book to show that you have a large backlist? I've experimented with that. I've also experimented with running to the series page, and book 1 works better. Because the other thing too is, like, whenever you're running an ad, the whole goal of the ad is, like, you're trying to make an emotional pitch about the story to the reader. And you're, like, trying to connect the reader with a character and a character's plight and the tropes in the story. And you need to control what they land on next. And if you send them to your author page, you have no idea what book 1's going to be. Users are going to land your author page and they're just going to be confused. So if you really wanted to do something like that, what you would really want to do is make like a dedicated landing page on your site where, maybe you're pitching a book 1 of a given series, or maybe you're doing a slightly more generalized pitch for a series. They land there, and then over on the side, there's like a thing listing all of your other series or something like that. So if they're sucked in and they're really interested in the story about XYZ, that's the main thing they see, but they also see other stuff. Whereas if you jump them to your author page on Amazon, you have no idea what's going to be the first book there. It's different for everybody. Amazon does weird shit based on what it thinks is going to sell. So that's my thoughts there. If you were to start translations for the series this time, would you use AI translation? Also, would you also hire a proofreader? Yes and yes. I would use AI translation. I'd use Shadowscribe. And probably for the first book or so, I would hire a proofreader. Given that for me, my books have a lot of weird sci-fi made-up names in them, I might always have a proofreader. But Shadowscribe partners with some companies that are actually pretty cheap. Or maybe they, I don't know if they partner with companies or if they offer the proofreaders themselves. I just know it's not super expensive to get them to proofread the book as well. So, so my answer is yes and yes, Stan. Oh, that's awesome. March 10th. Congrats and happy Galentine's Day. Marisha says, my 3rd book in series is being released next month. Should I start ads as soon as possible or closer to date of release? Is it in KU? Because that's one of the first big differences. If the book's not in KU, then users can take the same action whether the book's out or not, right? They can pre-order it or buy it. If the book is in KU, then your KU readers can't do anything, until the book's actually out. So you don't want to spend nearly as much time advertising before the book's out. If the book's in KU, this kind of ties back to the sale when we talked to Laura about, her ad might be in learning phase the entire time that the sale's going on. If I'm going to be running ads on launch for a KU book, I'll probably fire them up about 3 to 5 days in advance, so I can get the ad out of learning phase, make sure it's working, and be ready to scale when the book comes out, if I do want to scale. If it's wide, then I might fire it up a little bit sooner. Although, to my mind, if your book is wide, you should be releasing it directly first to make more money, and that's what I'd be advertising. But that's sort of a whole different conversation. But the other thing is, like, third book in a series. So it depends. Like if you're like a well-known author and you have a pretty big readership, then you want to advertise book 3. If you're not a well-known author and you don't have a big readership, then you might not want to advertise book 3 because book 3 doesn't convert as well as book 1, just from a general standpoint. Now, if you're writing standalones and they can be read in any order, then you're a little bit more okay with advertising book 3. But if your series has to be read in order, then a lot of times you're just wasting your money by advertising book 3. So that might depend a bit more on your exact situation there. One of the best ways. So if you're like, people may not convert on book 3 that well because it needs to be a linear series, or I don't know what any other reason you can think of why book 3 might not convert as well. Then what I do is when book 3 comes out, I run a 99-cent sale on book 1 and I advertise that. Or maybe I do a $2.99 sale on book 1 and I advertise that. So test 99 cents for month and full price for month and see which one makes the most money, and which one makes the most money. And then also, you might not need to do a full month. You might be able to do, well, no, read through takes a bit to calculate. I mean, if you want to do a full month, you could possibly get away with like 2 weeks. But the real thing you're going to want to look at as well is what that book 1 to book 2 read through rate looks like, because that's going to be a pretty big indicator of how well you're going to do as things go on. You said yes, Marcia, but I'm not sure which question you answered yes to. Christopher says, if you have campaigns with multiple ad sets targeting different audiences, are you running the budget at the campaign or the ad set level? I never run budgets at the campaign level. Always run your budgets at the ad set level. Advantage Plus campaign budgeting doesn't work for what we do. Because, well, unless you're doing direct sales. If you're doing direct sales, then it can work. And there's a whole slew of caveats built in around that. But if you're doing traffic ads going to a retailer, well, the objective of a traffic ad is a click. And that is what the campaign budget optimization is going to optimize for. It's going to put more money into the ads that seem to be able to get the clicks most easily. But the problem is that an ad can have one ad that gets clicks really easily, maybe cheaper, maybe better result rates, but doesn't convert. And another ad that maybe is a bit more expensive, but converts very well. But Facebook has no visibility into that conversion sides of things. So it can take your best ad that's making you all your money, and it will pull all the funds out of it and put into another ad that it can get clicks for more readily. But then that ad doesn't convert. So campaign budget optimization doesn't do anything useful for us because Facebook doesn't have the visibility into the second part of the process to know how to optimize. Yes to KU. Okay. Then yeah, at most 5 days then before the book comes out. It's sort of like the quick answer to that. Well, the basic Facebook ad workshop will not cover direct sales. That'll all be in the advanced workshop. We will try to talk. We might have time in that one to talk about lead magnet ads, but those are also, like, those are very similar to direct sales. I don't know if we'll have time to get to that or not, because I really want to cover all the basics really clearly. So, but like I said, we're going to be diving within a month of the basic one ending. We'll be diving into advanced, and direct sales will be in advanced. We'll get into that there. And the advanced class is up on Storyteller Lab right now. It's the recordings of the previous one that I ran, which is probably only about 6 months old at this point. So if you're really desperate for some direct sales stuff, you can look at those existing courses. But if you want to wait for like the new updated live stuff, then it'll be in April. Whew, man, I need a drink. It's talking. I do think that one of the things I think is really encouraging to see is, despite the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the world, people are still reading books. There's always that whole thing where people always say like, oh, well, during tough times, the art still does well. People still need their escapism. And you're like, that's great, but will that always hold true? It does seem to be holding true this time. So I think it's kind of a nice thing to see that we're still getting, a lot of people are reading books and getting books and stuff like that. And for the time being, TikTok's still here. So if you're doing really well on TikTok, then that's great. I would think about starting to diversify, like get yourself on Blue Sky. Although Blue Sky doesn't do video, so for a lot of people that may not translate over very well. Threads does video, Instagram of course does video, so it might be worth diversifying. But you know, that sort of thing seems, for the time being at least, fairly stable. Yeah, I think it has been 6 months, right? It's been something like that. It was early last fall, if I remember correctly. I think we started the last week of August. So yeah, 6 months. I can't believe that we're like almost 1/10 of the way through 2025. Like in a week, we'll be like 1/10 of the way through, which is ridiculous. So 2025 just needs to start over. Actually, does it though? Do I really want to relive 2025 over again? I think not, actually. I think we'll just keep soldiering forward. All right. Um, I'm running out of clever things to say here, but I do really want to offer my encouragement to everybody. I'm seeing ads still working really well, both AMS and Facebook ads. For those of you who are in our mastermind, sorry, not our mastermind, the higher tiers of school, on our roundtable no, our roundtable this week, we actually dissected an ad for Jessica Rosenberg that is an AMS ad that is basically just printing money. So you can go and watch the replay of that if you want to see going through that ad. And I actually made another one just to show how I did it. It's ridiculously simple to make these AMS ads that convert really well, so you can check that out. And it's really encouraging to see ads that are working really well, to see really good conversions. I think ad cost per click are still higher than I would normally expect them to see. They came down a lot after Christmas, but they also got stupid high in November and December. So we're not seeing the normal lows we would see on ad costs. And this just might be the new normal. Ads just might be like 3 to 4, maybe 5 cents on average more expensive per click than they used to be. I could totally see that happening, but they are still working. People are still able to be very profitable with their ads. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's something since January had 97 days. I'm not sure, is that a joke? Well, it's been 97 days since the beginning of January. The replay of that, if you're in school, it'll be in one of the courses. If you go into courses, one of the courses is all of the replays of the roundtable calls. So you can go check that out there. But with that, I think I will bid you all adieu. I will be, for those of you in school, we'll be sprinting this afternoon in about an hour and 20 minutes, and then we'll also be sprinting tomorrow morning too, doing writing sprints, and they're going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern till 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And maybe I'll get from only 4 chapters left to only 3 chapters left in this book, but I might be at 4 chapters left in this book for about 5 or 6 more chapters. We'll have to see. It is the longest month ever. Yes, Rosa. So we'll have those, and then there's sprints again. Actually, other sprints on Monday. Oh, Monday might not have sprints on it. Actually, I have to sort of see how that's going to play out. I might be live recording a podcast with Michael Eben, who has a podcast called Beyond the Book, but I don't know if we're going to be able to. Let's just see. I forgot that was coming up. And then, like Jill said, on the 24th, like Jill posted, and I said, I guess, on the 24th, we start the new basic Facebook ads class. So we'll see folks then who want to come to that too. All right, folks, we will see you when we see you, with whatever thing you're going to be hanging out with me in. I look forward to it. And if you just come here for lunch with Mal, I love that too. I will see you next week. Have a good one. Ciao.